Three groups of women were each shown a couple of male online profiles, and their reactions were very different. The first group is told that the men they are viewing are into them. The second group is told that the men rated these women as just average compared to other women. The last group is told that the men were indecisive about whether they like him or not. This setup happened as part of a study. The Harvard researchers found that women perceived men as most attractive when they were uncertain about them. This is a key concept at the highest level of attractiveness. We get back to that in a bit. First, let's look at the next level men can reach to set themselves apart from the pack. Try to see where you currently stand and what it takes to level up. Some men attract because of their looks, others because of how they act. At level 4, you become attractive by the way women feel around you. From level 2 to level 3, we saw a shift from looks to pure energy. At level 4, attraction becomes connection. You're about to understand the man who makes everlasting impressions on women. At level 4 and beyond, women start chasing because they're emotionally hooked and properly invested. If you ever felt you can't connect or engage a woman enough, this is your level. His vibe. He's grounded and emotionally present. He doesn't chase anymore. He just has a thoughtful presence that is about seeking deeper connections. He often takes the observer role and rather reads the room instead of seeking quick validation. He's confident but holds himself back in the first place. Women pick up on his energy as they can feel his curious and genuine nature. He's a clear and transparent communicator, yet doesn't need words to understand women's needs. This guy can reflect upon his own emotional states and accurately respond to other people. Whatever a woman feels like, he can sense that and overall has a very high situational awareness. He listens more than he speaks. Women love men who can lead, and the ability to read people is a key concept of leadership. The level 4 man is no longer moved by random emotions, but rather knows what she's up to and what she needs. He then has a much better position to take reasonable decisions, taking the lead. And how do women respond to him? Women feel emotionally comfortable and safe around him. They don't feel judged, so they tend to open up to him relatively quickly on a deeper level. He is also aware of his vulnerabilities and not afraid to share those, which can be highly attractive if the man has a healthy masculine identity. Confidence plus self-awareness beats ego any time. Do not confuse this with the friend-zone guy who's being used as a therapist. The emotionally intelligent man is a desired man who stands by his values as a man. But his emotional understanding allows him to go places most men can't. Thus, women feel heard and understood, and that builds trust and connection like nothing else. Women have access to physical pleasure whenever they like. It's much harder to find an emotional connection. While most men want to prove something, trying to impress women, this guy brings refreshing energy. Also, the emotionally intelligent man gets away with being slightly less physically attractive because he makes women connect to that deeper energy that is hard to find. He has chances if women aren't attracted to him right away because he can play the long game, building tension and connection through emotional bonding. The way to achieve all that is by sharpening emotional awareness. Start capturing exactly how you feel in certain situations and put a label on those emotions. I feel upset, happy, disappointed. This trains the detection of emotional states. Then you want to become an observer. Put your attention on people's behavior. It tells you what they are driven by. Do they change state on certain topics? Do they use emotional words? Do they move slowly or fast? Then try to connect their behavior with the context. Why would they act the way they do? You could even ask them to gain a better understanding. Lastly, you train impulse control. So whenever you get emotional, you don't act or respond within the first few seconds. This allows you to gain clarity on your state, so you remain in control of your emotions. This all boosts your emotional awareness of other people. What's missing though? Why is this level 4 and not the last one? It's simple. You're emotionally highly intelligent. You possibly have the looks and even the confidence. That all still doesn't mean you're free from insecurities and possibly dealing with low self-esteem. This guy has all the tools to be an absolute master in attractiveness. But he can have all that and still feel he isn't good enough. The equipment of this guy is just so good that he can barely tell he's still struggling on the inside. Sadly, he isn't safe from not feeling worthy, and once that shines through, he loses attractiveness. YouTube's self-proclaimed alpha male community has many views of what makes a man high value. High status and income seem to play a major role here, a fit body as well. The high-value man has plenty of women he engages with, and he's not made for monogamy. He cheats, and women tolerate that because he's clearly the best option they could have. But we challenge whether this has anything to do with high value. It is indeed a worthwhile mission to aim for career success, a healthy body, and a lot of money. It increases your social status, and you will have more women available to you. But that doesn't mean women find you valuable. You just look valuable from the outside, and it does not mean there's any real connection between you and them. They don't really care about you, and neither do they respect you. There are plenty of very successful men who struggle with women and fail to have relationships of any regard. Let's cut to the chase. What is a high-value man? A man of true high value is a man with high self-esteem. Once you feel intrinsic self-worth, anything external only becomes an accessory. His vibe. This man knows his worth and that it comes from within. Anything he has on the externals is just a product of his self-belief and self-esteem. He's present, he's confident, and he is in touch with his emotions, which he's able to regulate very well. He's not controlled by his emotional states and also has a high situational awareness. He's not seeking validation. He doesn't need a particular type of woman to validate his value. He has a value system he stands by and never acts against it. He's his own best friend and respects himself. He does not tolerate toxic behavior or other people going against his value system. High-value men have high intrinsic value, and they know that. As opposed to other levels, the high-value man actually feels worthy. He doesn't need certain things and traits in order to, because he already is. If cheating is part of the definition of high value, something has to be off because cheating implies dishonesty. A man of high value doesn't need to cheat. He's honest about his intention and gives the woman a fair chance to stay or leave. The only reason why people lie and play games in dating or relationship is because deep down they fear being rejected for the person they are, because they have low self-esteem. What makes a man high value is his ability to accept rejection, because a man with high self-esteem knows that rejection doesn't affect his worth as a man. The high-value man draws the line whenever a person oversteps. He then walks away with grace, trusting he can always find people who do want to have him around. How do women respond to him? First and foremost, women no longer just like him, they respect him. Even if a woman rejects him, she still respects him because of the way he carries himself. He's also respected because he sets boundaries and sticks to them. He's loyal to himself. Women feel proud to be with a man of his caliber. They tap strongly into their feminine energy. Even better, they relax and have a calm nervous system with him. Also, they are attracted quite strongly to him and usually see him as a long-term partner. Nothing beats internal validation. You worked on your appearance, mastered a confident presence, and improved your social skills. Now dedicate all your efforts towards increasing self-esteem and self-love. The relationships you have with others are a reflection of the relationship with yourself. Start practicing behavior that shows your inner self is of high value. If a woman is not that into you, you do not chase, you let her go. You teach yourself to be valuable, increasing self-esteem on a micro-daily basis. You basically need to act as if you are absolutely awesome. You become your own best friend. This will rebuild your self-esteem so much that eventually you feel complete enough to not need validation from women. And that's ironically when people come to you. Don't chase women. Chase becoming a man worth choosing. You still have to put yourself out there, of course. The study in our intro basically referred to this man. Up to this point, becoming as attractive as possible seemed like a desirable goal. At level 6, for the first time, attractiveness fully becomes a byproduct of who you are. Just like the man on level 1, the sovereign man isn't playing the game either, but not because he's weak. He just isn't interested in chasing women, attention, or status to validate himself at all. Ironically, it is his detachment from the game that sparks his attractiveness. And yes, a high-value man doesn't use externals to validate himself either. But the mysterious man is still a different breed. I will show you why. His vibe. Let me give you two well-known examples of men to make the vibe of the sovereign man super clear. That's Johnny Depp and Keanu Reeves. They draw the most attention, even among their peers, yet are the least attention-seeking. They are calm and mysterious. This type of man lives in his own world and couldn't bother to impress anyone. It's basically impossible to put a label on him. He's not an alpha, not a bad boy or high value. He's just being him. Almost all men try to prove something. He doesn't. He defines his own values and doesn't seek attention. His attention isn't guaranteed either. That scarcity increases his perceived value. The fact that he doesn't chase opens the dynamics for people to chase him. He's a man of extremes. He's a calm, safe space that women feel grounded with, yet he adds tons of excitement by remaining a mystery to crack. He is emotional complexity and misunderstood male depth. How do women respond to him? All women find something attractive about the sovereign man, regardless of looks and status. He's magnetic to them. The attraction that this guy creates is almost painful to women. He's emotionally able to open up, yet untouchable. Women have a deep urge to be part of his mysterious world. They genuinely want to understand him, but regardless of how much closer they get, there's always this missing piece. Whenever our brain lacks information, it fills in the gaps by projecting scenarios. That ambiguity creates uncertainty and mystery fuels attraction. As a result, the desired man now becomes a romantic fantasy. They're emotionally hooked, deeply invested, and chase him. His world becomes their obsession. And the more we invest in something, the higher the perceived value. In other words, the more time the woman spends on wondering how he feels and if he likes her, the bigger the investment. He becomes more attractive to her, just like the man in the study. What's the catch? Most men are never gonna reach level 6 because it means breaking free from external validation, not wanting to prove anything, and it also means to stop comparing and even competing. For most men, this is barely achievable by setting self-improvement goals, unless you are naturally wired like that. That's a challenge because men have a competitive nature. Possibly we are human beings before we are spiritual beings, and we want to be seen. We want to prove something to ourselves at times, and we sadly compare all the time. The high-value man can face the realities and act in alignment with or despite them. He is not a victim of circumstances. The sovereign man seems to live in a different world. He is not in on any of these dynamics, and maybe it's just a different type of energy than the high-value man, not necessarily a better one. It's still level 6 because the attractiveness he creates is the strongest. The takeaway. This video is a good example that the highest level might not necessarily be the most desirable one to aim for. Level 6 is an extreme example, and being extreme in certain areas comes at a cost in other areas. Paradoxically, you cannot make level 6 your goal to become the most attractive man. He is so attractive because he's never been attached to the game in the first place. For him, there is no race, game, or status to achieve. He's a natural. Of course, you can still benefit from the fact that keeping things low-key and a bit mysterious makes a man more attractive, especially if you tend to overshare or love bombed. If you had to pick one guy as a goal to become, choose the high-value man. He lives in a relatable reality, and within that, he sits on top of it. Especially if you're a young, driven man who wants an impactful career, you must have more in place than being a romanticized dreamer who women drool over. True masculinity and value as a man do not come at the cost of respect or true connection. Masculinity lives in a strong frame with high self-esteem that integrates emotional presence.